You're listening to Crushing Club Marketing, a podcast for progressive club leaders ready to increase their club's revenue. The time for change begins right now. You know, it wasn't so long ago that people were wondering about this whole YouTube thing and what it was all about. Well, you know, now video is ubiquitous in business and in digital marketing. If you've thought about adding video into your marketing mix, you're going to want to listen to this podcast. We'll get into strategy and also talk tips on how to get started. Well, thanks for listening in today. My name is Ed Heil, the host of Crushing Club Marketing, and today I am on my own, and we are going to talk about creating a video marketing strategy for your club. Now, we only have a short time here together, so we're not going to get into a ton of tactics, but we are going to talk a little bit tactically, and overall, my hope today is to help you think through video a little bit deeper. So if you're planning on producing a video, you're thinking you should produce a video, what do you need to know? And how best should you leverage that video? And that's what we're going to get into today. If you think about why you might be considering using video on your website or as part of your marketing mix, it's because you recognize that people are visiting your website, going to your online properties like Facebook and places like that to learn more about you, to better understand who you are, what you stand for, and try to determine whether or not your club is right for them. So if you're a club interested in driving new membership or more membership, or even if you're one of your focuses to grow your wedding or your catering event business, in this podcast today, we're going to talk about some ways that you can think about video and strategize around video to help your marketing initiatives. And this might replace some of the things you're doing. So it's one of those areas in digital marketing you want to have a sense for what you're going to do and what the outcomes would be if you pull this off successfully. Because whether you are a marketing coordinator who has to report to a director of marketing who has to report to a GM, or a GM who has to report to a board, if you're going to ask them to shift some budget, or you tell them you want to shift some budget, some of you can just do that, and I get that. I think that's awesome. And others, you're going to need some cost justification for it. So we want to give you a good strategy and a starting point to do that. So number one, as we get into this, video isn't just art. This is one of my sayings. It's like, yes, you can take video and basically hang it on a wall like a piece of art, or in this case, more practically, put it on your website and say, hey, this is our club video. And that is, in many ways, I would say, sort of a mandatory piece. Like, that's something that a lot of clubs should have. I think of it as like a culture piece. And if you've ever seen a company who has a culture video, and couple that just jump out in my mind right now is The North Face. That brand has a fabulous culture video. In fact, they have several culture videos that really help people who love their brand really connect in a different way. Another one, and we're based in Minneapolis, so we're very familiar with a lot of the Minnesota companies as well. And Red Wing Shoes, based in Red Wing, Minnesota, has got a terrific series of stories and videos that help the viewer really connect with their culture. So this idea of like culture videos for businesses isn't new by any stretch. In fact, it's kind of old, or it's becoming old quickly. And clubs should also and can also create culture pieces that say, this is who we are, this is what we believe in, this is what our members are all about. It's really important that you understand who you are, though, before you start to produce a culture video. We had a discussion with a club within the last year about producing a video for them, and the whole thing stalled because the general manager, the membership director, catering, they couldn't agree with the membership on the type of club they are. They had a discussion whether we're a family club, whether we're a golfers club. To me, it was very obvious who they were, which as a consumer, I thought, and club member, I thought for sure they were a family club. But anyway, once you know who you are, it's a lot easier to produce those videos. So we're going to talk about today different video types or types of video that can be used for different purposes. We're going to talk about how to economize those videos. So if I say you're going to produce 6 videos, you don't go, oh my gosh, it's going to cost a fortune. We're going to talk about how you can do that in a way that doesn't cost you a fortune and that is actually very smart and very planful, but it requires strategy, it requires a plan, and it requires a vision. So in the end, this is a starter podcast. And my hope is that you'll get some ideas, you'll see some things differently, and hopefully you'll get a sense for why and how you should, could, and can use video. Sound good? And I know you're nodding your head saying, yes, Ed, this sounds awesome. Tell me more. All right. So let's dive into some of this stuff. So why video? Well, first of all, as I said, it's ubiquitous online. I mean, my gosh, think about your social media streams even. You're seeing more and more video pop up in your Facebook feed and if you're on Instagram, video is showing up everywhere. And for sure, when we go online, whether you expect to see video on a website, whether it's Club or whether it's something else that, another type of business you're interested in, it's almost like when they have video, it's not a big deal. You're like, oh, good, they have a video. Oh, good, I can watch it. You can learn more. And maybe you've gone to some websites where you're like, oh, man, a video would be great. If they could just show me more of this, it would really help me better understand whether this is the right product, whether this is the right service, whether this is the right experience for me. So take that last one in experiences and how important video is in helping you to understand an experience. We'll talk about that more in a second. So one of the reasons why video is so prevalent in our lives online today, I want you to think about this. The YouTube generation has grown up. YouTube started, early 2000s, right? And so if you were 13 when YouTube really started to explode online, you might be 28 now. I mean, that's wild if you think about how quickly YouTube has really come to the forefront. So you've got a whole generation of people today who are like, well, just, look it up on YouTube. Go find it on YouTube. They expect to see video. Secondly, so I'm going to run through a couple stats for what they're worth. So if you want to jot them down, great. But they're just more impressive than anything else. 96% of B2B organizations use video in some capacity. So B2B, business to business, is sort of a unique area for video. But if you think a lot of business to business organizations have a hard time telling their story through commercials, through print advertising, and things like that. So they found that video can be a very effective way of doing that. But so many of your members and people who are doing business with your club, whether they are clients for events or, as I mentioned, members, they're used to seeing video because it's part of their day-to-day lives. 73% of businesses report a positive ROI on using video. So video is powerful for the businesses who are actually using it. And 59% of executives prefer to watch video rather than read text. So 50, almost 60%. And these stats came from 2016, 2017. So these numbers, I'm sure, are higher today. So why does that last one matter, executives? For a lot of clubs, these are the people you're targeting. These are people that you are trying to get interested in. And if you think about your membership base, and a lot of clubs are trying to get younger, well, you may not need to, your membership base, while you're trying to get younger, that older demographic also appreciates video because now, as we mentioned, it's ubiquitous and people are just getting used to and have an expectation of seeing video when they go online. Okay, video has the power. This is one of our beliefs at Storyteller Media and Communications, and we produce video, so just in full disclosure, we do that. But what we've always said is that video has the power to take you somewhere, teach you something, and introduce you to someone you'd like to know. This is an old TV news thing. If you've listened to my other podcasts and solocasts, you may know that I was in TV news for 12 years as a reporter, sports reporter, and also did some news in the end. But video is such a powerful medium, of course, in TV news, because that's what TV news is. Duh. But anyway, we have the ability through video to take you somewhere. And we can show you around your club. We can introduce people to your staff. We can introduce you to members. We can introduce you to the head coach of our swim team or our tennis instructor, things like that. So it's unbelievable in that way. Videos also allow the viewer to put themselves into the quote-unquote story. So when you watch a video, and we've done some club overview videos as well, but when you watch them, as a viewer, what you're trying to figure out is, sure, aesthetically, does it look like a nice club? And I know that a lot of times as club marketers, club managers, GMs, it becomes this idea of, I want to show off how beautiful our club is. No question. I mean, that's like one of those things that you need to be able to communicate. But when you talk about the features of your club, I think you're missing the opportunity. What you really want to do is let the people who are most influential, and whether those are member testimonials or whether they're really cool staff that you think really embodies who you are, that's where the real core of your videos should be. And here's why. You're going to show them pictures of your club. I say pictures, but through that video, people will see how beautiful your club is. You don't need someone to say we're beautiful and show that we're beautiful. You know what I mean? So let the video speak for your club, because you're going to show it off, and focus on how you can bring in that viewer into your club and help them to say, gosh, I love that person. They look like they're really fun. Or, boy, I could see myself getting to know that person really well. They seem just like me. So that idea of bringing the viewer into your club and into the story so they can imagine what it would be like to be a member of your club, that is so powerful, and a huge reason why video should be a mainstay within your marketing strategy. So the other thing that is important to know is that these overview videos are really, really nice, and they're important to have. And they become, in some ways, they can become a vanity piece as well for a club, which I always feel is a little bit dangerous, because you don't want it to seem unrealistic. But anyway, the other thing to think about is this idea of shooting one video and putting it on your website and leaving it there. Like, hey, we did our video, it's on our website. It is something that I would say 5 to 8 years ago was fine. I mean, people there would say, yeah, that's cool. That's what you do. I mean, it's just standard practice, right? But the world has changed, and a lot of it is social media, and a lot of it is our attention span is shorter, and a lot of it is the simple fact that we expect to see more and more video. And whether you totally identify with that or not, what I want you to do is just take a second to think about that and go, when you're looking for information on something, one video is nice, but how often do you get to the end of that video and go, what else do they have? What else could I learn? Or maybe you're going to another page on a website and going, boy, I'd love to see more about that. So whether you know it or not as a consumer, when you're going through it, you probably can recognize those times when you've been looking for information and you realize that more video could be helpful. I use this analogy, and I still think it's pretty relevant. I used to talk about David Letterman, but since Letterman hasn't been on the air for a while, it's not that relevant anymore. But if the same Jimmy Kimmel show was on every single night, and it was always the exact same episode, and never changed, same guest, same opening monologue, the whole deal, how many times would you watch that show? You'd watch it once for sure, because you hadn't seen it before. You might watch it in the beginning of the second if it was a really good show, and if it was an amazing show, you might watch it several times. But generally speaking, you're not going to watch it more than 1.5 times, because by the time you're into the second episode, you're going to go, wait a second, this was last night's episode too, right? So I think about video in that way for clubs today, which is give people a variety of video that they can watch and different experiences that they can plug in at your club as well. So how do you do that? Because you might be sitting there and going, are you serious, Ed? I mean, producing one video can cost a fortune. It can. How are we going to produce 5, 6? And then are you suggesting that we produce more and more video on an ongoing basis? And I would say, Sure, maybe. I mean, that could be a really, really cool approach. And we can talk about ways that you can do that as well. But before we do that, let's go through just our high-level approach of video and how we see video being used out in the world, in the business world, and for sure in the area of hospitality. We look at video and we break it down in 3, potentially 4 buckets, but we're going to focus on 3 today. The 3 areas that we look at breaking down video is 1, to raise awareness for your club, 2, as a tool for people who are considering your club, and 3, for the evangelists or for your existing members of your club. Let's get into that a little bit, and we'll talk more deeply about each video. So earlier I said know who you are, right? So know who you are as a club. The other thing that I think is really important for you to do is know what your needs are. Understand, where are you getting tripped up? Are you getting a lot of people who are coming to your club and you're not converting them? You're doing tours, people aren't converting. Is it that you're not getting enough tours? Is it that you're not getting enough inquiries and people saying, hey, I'd like to learn more about you? Or are you not engaging your existing members and leveraging them enough as a marketing resource for your club? So, and maybe you have other pain points as well. Maybe your chef is terrible, or you've got, a culture issue, whatever. I mean, but understand from a marketing perspective what your greatest needs are. Start there. Okay, and as I go through these, try to think about what you could do to address your specific marketing needs. So let's talk about raising awareness of your club. This is kind of a difficult thing today because I know a lot of you will say, referrals are the best source of leads for us. Get that. And yet sometimes people will get the referral and go to your club. And then you may also have people who are new to the area. And maybe they did hear of one club in the area, but they haven't heard of you. So they want to shop a little bit and find out, geez, are there other clubs? Are there other clubs that are better for us, better for our family, better for my kids, whatever that is, right? So they might Google private clubs near me. Or they might Google what age should I get my child started in golf? Or local swimming facilities if you're somewhere warm, right? So they're going to Google information and look for things online that will help answer questions that they have. So video is very powerful when it comes to search. And when I talk about search, I mean when it comes to Google, when it comes to Bing and Yahoo. Most people use Google, so we'll stick with that. Video is really, really, really powerful, and Google has always prioritized video content higher than written content. I shouldn't say always, but it's once Google bought YouTube, they started prioritizing video higher. So it's important that you think about your video when raising awareness to say, hey, is there video that we could create that people might find beneficial if they're looking for information online? So let's just say private clubs for families near me. Maybe you produce a video that is things to look for when checking out private clubs or looking for private clubs. Do a short little video. We think of it as like a little video blog that if someone sees that and say, oh, wow, I can watch a 1.5-minute video or a 2-minute video on what to look for in a private club, it positions you as an expert resource. It positions you as someone who that person might want to go check out and go talk to because you've got valuable information. And through that, like I said before, we're going to show them really cool shots of your club that they go, oh, wow, that place is near me. I should go talk to them, right? So video can be used in that way as a way to attract people who are looking for information online. The second way it can be used to raise awareness is in social media. So if you have a Facebook page that's open to the public, producing video and posting it to your Facebook page can be a great way to share with not just your members, but think about how Facebook works. It's your members, and when they post things, all their friends see it. And wouldn't it be great if all their friends also became members? You want to talk about building a really strong referral network? Give your members content that they can share online to help recruit other new members. Make sense? Video also, we did a podcast. We've done a couple podcasts on content. We've talked a little bit about blogging in previous episodes. but you can also use video as part of a blog. So I don't want to go into all the blogging thing because it's going to take us down a rabbit hole. But if you have a blog, if you've thought about creating a blog, if you have an understanding of how blogs work, a great way to boost the views of those blog posts is to add video into the blog. So let's just say you're going to do a blog on, this is going off the membership thing, but let's just say you're going to write a blog. Your chef wants to do something, a weekly cooking tip, right? And you're going to do something on how to make a great sauce for seafood. You could write that blog, right? And you can have the whole written thing, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever that is. But add a video of the chef in there showing how to make this great sauce for salmon will help that blog get found just by having that video in there. Okay, so raising awareness of your club, video is really, really powerful. All right, so moving on, consideration. Videos that can be used for the consideration phase. Now, I'll also talk about this as the conversion phase. So it's consideration and conversion because I think that happens really fast. These steps within the buyer's journey happen really, really quickly. So when I think about consideration, it's that member overview video, right? It's that get to know us. It's learn what we're all about. Let's share our culture. These are people who maybe have visited your website and like, oh, wow, this is great. Or their buddy has said, hey, welcome to the area. If you're looking for a great private club, check these guys out. Make sure you mention me so I get my referral kickback, but whatever, you get the idea. So they go to the website and they can learn more about you. That's where you want that culture video, that member video that talks about what you're all about, right? So often, I see this all the time, clubs get stuck here, and it's really interesting. They get stuck on where to put the video. And they look at it and they go, oh man, well, maybe we should put that on the homepage. Great idea, especially depending on what that video is, but how to position it, where to put it, how big, should it be an entire player, Some other ideas, put that video on your membership page. So when people are clicking on membership, they can see that video on your members. Maybe that video is actually a testimonial video, and that goes on your membership page. We'll talk more about that in a second. Video on specific pages where people are going to go to check you out. So membership, maybe it's social, maybe it's your regular golf membership, your weddings, your catering events, your Monday golf events. Think about using video in those places. If those, and you can do something really simple if you have Google Analytics and you're familiar with this technology, you can actually go and see what pages are visited the most. Look at those pages and go, what kind of video could we produce for those pages? Because they're driving a ton of traffic, and we want to convert more of those people either to contact us, to download information, things like that. Another useful way to leverage video, staff bio videos. So, one of the things, as I've mentioned in some of my other podcasts, I'm a member of a private club. And I got to tell you, I love the members, and I've got some unbelievable friends there, but I love our staff. Our staff at my club is fantastic. If someone leaves, I miss them. It's like I want to go to their going away party for the club. But And so often, they can be your best salespeople. So staff bio videos, a little bit about who they are, so I can get to know you. Do you look like the kind of people that I want to hang out with? Do you look like the people that I want to hang out in the golf shop with or hang out at the pool with and talk to? And I know that, you have these relationships with some of your members. And so it's really, really important that you are able to share that side of your club, because you don't want people that aren't the right fit, right? Because you don't want people to come, hang out for a year, and then leave. You want to get them to come in and stay with you for a long time. So those staff bio videos can be really, really powerful. Another way to use video is part of the consideration/conversion process. I recognize that there are not a lot of clubs today that are using inbound marketing practices, meaning click on something, go to a landing page, convert, capture email addresses, and things like that. However, I know that some of you are doing this today. So if you are a club that, even if you don't have some of these things, so I don't want to exclude you guys, if you have contact us, learn more about membership. And I would say, rather than just putting that blank form on your page, like, tell us more about yourself, bring them somewhere. connect with them, to have them go to a landing page where you can pitch them a little bit more on who you are and what you're all about. So we think of this as a landing page. So if I'm at your website, just to step out of this really quickly, I go to your website and I see on the navigation or somewhere on the website, learn more about membership, learn more about joining our family, however you want to phrase that. I click that, takes me to another page on your site. It says, wow, membership at Bushwood Country Club looks like this. Has information, has more downloadable resources perhaps, and there's a video. Because at that point, when I've got you at that page, there's intent. There's intent from that person. For some reason, they're interested in learning what membership is like at your club, and it's a fantastic place to put video. Make sense? All right, so these videos in general, these consideration, conversion type videos they're about us videos. So we talked about that, the culture, club overview videos. They could be explainer videos, how things work at our club. Maybe they're this is not about recruiting, but it is service oriented. How to get here. What to expect when you come to our club, how to dress, some general protocol. The consideration videos that I love for clubs are testimonial videos. These are member stories. These are pieces that should make the viewer feel something and go, oh, I love that story. I want to join. They seem like me. They stand for what I believe in. These are videos that really showcase your tribe and who you are and what you are all about. They can also be demonstration videos. Some clubs that we've worked with in the past, if they're interested in membership, they could sign up to receive golf tips from the head golf professional. So granted, you might not, it might be like, oh, I just like golf tips. That's cool. But they could also be one of those where if I'm getting an video email from your head golf professional every week that's going to be a different tip, I'm going to develop a relationship in some way with that person. And it might be enough to bring them to the club. They get to your club. That's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to sell them and tell them more about your club. Another stat for you. Video increases conversion rates by 80% when you have them on your landing pages. So you can have that destination of, remember I was talking about learn more about membership. You click that and go, you can have those. I mean, you can create really awesome landing pages that will encourage conversion without video, maybe some really nice images. But video can be super powerful there as well. And we've seen conversion rates for our clients increase substantially when you put video on those pages. All right. We're going to talk about evangelist videos. So I call them evangelist videos, and there's no better group of evangelists for your clubs than your existing members. Hopefully, my gosh, if they can't be your best evangelists, then you're in trouble, right? So these are the videos that your members should be able to watch and go, oh my gosh, I love this story about this person. It's kind of like what I was just saying about the testimonials, but these are the videos that will showcase your members' passion for the club. And I don't care if it's a story about the head swimming coach and the 5-year-old backstroker who just learned backstroke, but somehow finished in the top 10 at the league championship swim meet, the interclub championship swim meet. Whatever that story is, you want to showcase the passion that your members have for the club, how much they love it, how much, I've talked in the past about the story about the diver who learned how to dive at the club and then went on to win the state diving meet on the East Coast. These are stories that people say, oh my gosh, that is a fantastic story, and I got to share this. I want to show everyone. I want to take this video and put it on my Facebook page because it's such an awesome story. These are the videos that remind members why they fell in love with your club. Think about that. These stories are all over the place. They could be a story, it could be a human interest story about a member, which is, I would say, a no-brainer way to get people to share content about your club online is to feature them in a video story. But it could be a touching story about a staff member that everyone loves, that everyone thinks is so great. Maybe it's an overcoming adversity story, which always get a lot of play and a lot of shares, right? But ultimately, these are videos that move people and that your members are going to want to share. And what would be really, really awesome is if the non-member who sees that would also share the story. Because at that point, it's not about your club. And again, it's not about your features. It's not about how beautiful you are. It's not about the fact that you added, you did $5 million in renovations to your club. Those things are all terrific and they're great stories in some way to tell. But what you're really looking for are the pieces about the people, because that's what the viewer is going to connect with. So you might be sitting there going, all right, I'm down. I got this. I hear what you're saying, Ed. But you're throwing a lot of ideas out there, and I know you're a video guy, so you're probably just trying to sell video. But you know what? I want to tell you this. This does not have to be a big expense. Now, granted, what's a big expense, right? I mean, everyone's got a different idea of what that is. Number one, if you're going to do anything that's outward-facing for prospective members, make sure it looks good. Don't let your assistant golf professional or someone who does banquet stuff for you just take a video their phone and shoot crappy video. You want this to look right? So you want this to be an excellent representation of your club. If you spend a lot of money producing a really fancy book, brochure, download, hard copy, something that's like, hey, this is our marketing piece, then you know that whatever asset that is, whether it's print or digital, needs to accurately reflect who you are and what you stand for as a club. So I'm going to run through some real practical, actionable tips for you if you're thinking about producing a video. And whether you are, whether you have someone that you know, whether it's you're in a market where you don't know anyone, I hope some of this information will help you as you're trying to figure out the best partner to work with. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what you should produce. So we've talked about this, sporadically in this podcast so far, but I'm going to give you a list. I'm going to give you 4 things to think about when it comes time to producing video. So you're saying, okay, we know who we are. We know who we want to reach, right? We know who our persona is and who they are. So the things you want to think about producing, be informative. Help that persona, help that target prospective member, help them learn more about your club. Be informative, be helpful. Okay, so sometimes that means giving away information that you don't want to give away, but help them to make a decision. Be valuable to them. Be a valuable resource to that person. And you might be sitting there saying, give stuff away. What do you mean by that, Ed? Well, here's what I mean. When you go and you're shopping and you're looking for information, don't you love it when someone gives you information that, I probably shouldn't tell you this. And I'm not saying give away club secrets, but be insightful and help them in that way. Entertain them. So sometimes clubs will say, yeah, we're going to shoot videos and we're going to have, Bob do these videos. And you're like, Bob puts me to sleep when I'm talking to him in person. So guess what? You put anyone on video, it flattens them out. And that's why you hear TV, radio personalities who talk like this, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to amplify and amp up who they are, because otherwise, radio does this too, by the way, but video flattens out personalities. And when I was in TV news, it was amazing. When I was first learning how to be on camera, you sit there and go, wow, I had a great show last night. I felt really good and I was energetic and everything. And you watch it and it's like, I was like flatlining. So if Bob is boring in person, Bob is going to be a total snoozer on video. So you want someone who's got energy. You want someone who's got charisma and someone who's entertaining. The last thing, they got to be engaging, all right? So it's not enough to have someone on, in a video who's just yelling at people, but they're sort of entertaining. You want someone who engages them with their eyes, with their voice, right? And I know it's like, I don't know if we have that person right here, but talk to people. Maybe this person that you put in videos could be, it could be a part-time person. It could be someone who works in your dining room but has an unbelievable personality. Make sure when you're thinking about what to produce, you have engaging people with engaging content, okay? Secondly, let's talk about messaging, because this is a really, really big issue because so many people get into video and they don't know what to produce or what to do. So figure out the problem you're solving. We talked about it in the beginning. Understand what your pain points are. The pain points are for the person who's going to watch the video. Figure out what problem you're going to help them solve, and then focus on just one story. Don't try to tell 5 stories. It's one thing that all clubs try to do. They're like, oh, we got to talk about swimming. We got to talk about tennis. We got to talk about, well, we're on a lake, so we could talk about our boat club. That's where you do multiple videos. So focus on the one story that you're going to tell for that specific group, okay? For that problem that you're trying to solve, it's just one story. Be brutal in your editing. Don't add stuff that's redundant. Don't keep interviews that go on and on. Know what you want to get from it. Be really smart about how you edit that content. So I don't mean like sitting down to edit video, but like editing information. Be brutal. If it's not important, if it's not germane to the topic, get rid of it. Got to be interesting again, and don't fixate on duration. So often people go, well, it's got to be 45 seconds, right? I mean, well, I heard no video is supposed to be more than 30 seconds. Get that out of your head. What it's about is about quality information. People will stay tuned as long as that information is good. That's why we still go to movies, by the way. That's why some people, we watch movies on our phone, and why we get addicted to TV shows and binge watch for hours on our phone, because that content is so compelling. Now, if your content is terrible, if your people aren't interesting or engaging and it's not informative, then don't do the video, number one, or secondly, keep it really, really short, okay? So who to hire? Let's just get into this a little bit, because hiring video people is really confusing. And if you're like a lot of people, you go, I know someone who can shoot video. My nephew, my cousin, my next door neighbor, my son, my daughter, whatever that is, right? So that's fine. And for some projects, it can work really, really well. But let's face it, the best videographers and video producers in the world did not just roll out of bed and grab their iPhone and start shooting video. It's a craft and it's an art. And I don't want to sell that short, especially if you're trying to create something that's special and memorable for your club. So look for freelancers. There are some fabulous places where you can find freelancers out there. If you're looking for someone, I'll give you a resource right now. It's productionhub.com. productionhub.com. All one word. If you go in there, you can find freelancers in your market and near you that are available. In fact, you'll get a lot. It's important that when you get these names, that you watch their reel. Look for things that they may have shot that's similar to what you do. And what I want you to do is when you talk to them or you inquire, find out, are they people, did they shoot most of the video you're looking at, or did they just edit it? Because what you're going to find in this world of video production is some people are great shooters, but they're horrible video editors. And some people are amazing video editors, but they don't know how to shoot. And they'll say, yeah, this is my reel, and it might be, but I did all the post-production. They never shot a lick of it. And then you get them out and they go, oh, well, I'm not really that good of a shooter. Or it might not be their strength. They're not going to tell you they're not very good, but it's not going to be their strength. So you want someone, ideally, who shoots and edits their own footage. That is your ideal combination. I always like former news people because they're typically a little less expensive, they're quick, they understand the economy of time, and they typically know how to shoot and edit, okay? I recommend hiring a shooter and a producer, and if you don't know what that is, the producer is kind of like your project manager. They're the ones who will also have a vision, who can walk you through what that vision is. In many cases, a great way to go is hire a producer who knows a videographer. This is not to say that there aren't fantastic and exceptional videographers who know how to produce, because they exist as well. And they're not really necessarily a unicorn, but the beauty of having a two-person crew is that you have someone who's doing the work and someone who's thinking. So someone who's thinking ahead and what they want to get, and did we get this, and keeping track of the project, and the other one who's executing. So that combination is really, really good. Then lastly, get someone who has experience in the type of video and shooting clubs and shooting corporate stuff. People who understand timelines. Make sure you ask them what their project timeline looks like. How do they execute? What milestones are there? How do they communicate with you? Okay, these are really, really important things because, like web design people, video teams can get really flaky and lose track of projects. So you want someone who has a lot of experience in managing multiple projects. All right, so what does it cost? It can cost a range. There's a range, right? It's that horrible answer. It depends, but it really does depend. So what I always recommend when I talk to people about this is know what your budget is. Know how much you're willing to spend. And my recommendation to you is that go into this knowing you're going to spend at least $5,000. You can go less, but you're going to get. I'm afraid you're going to get someone who is not as qualified as you need them to be. So make $5,000 your bottom line limit, okay? And you may have a hard time finding someone who will do the job for that. And then when you start telling them what you want, they might go, hey, this isn't a $5,000 project. But if you start with that as your budget, then you can work with that producer and project manager to say, what's realistic? What can you get done for this? And they should be able to give you a decent idea as to how to execute. And the big thing about cost, I'm telling you right now, do it right. Get a good estimate up front, because the last thing you want to do is go with a low baller and then get into the project and all of a sudden you're with an unreliable freelancer and they didn't budget the project properly, and all of a sudden they're going to hit you up with a bill at the end that's way more than you ever expected. It's kind of like designing a kitchen and redoing your kitchen. You want to have a good contractor who's really good at estimating costs and comes in on budget and on time, right? So this is the other thing, and I'm just about done with this. Maximize your shooting time. And so we've talked about a lot of different types of video. I'm going to give you some advice because it's the advice we give to our clients, and I think it's really helpful. If you're going to go, because you've not produced a video and you want to produce an overview of your club, okay, and that's what the video is going to be, what I want you to do is take some time and think about those pages where you'd like to have other video, but maybe you can't afford to do it right now. But think about that plan. What does that look like? We've got some worksheets on our website. If you're interested, you could download, and I'll put that in the description as well. But think about where you want those videos to go, what pages you want those videos to be on. And what I want you to do is work with your producer to say, hey, I want to do this video, but while we have our general manager sitting down for this interview, I'd also like to have him talk about the renovations to our clubhouse, okay? And so you want to capture some sound that you might not use for the overview video, but they're interview and sound bites that you could use for another video. It requires that you get organized, you get really thoughtful about the people that you want in that overview video, and then also how you're going to use those videos. I'll give you another example. So part of your overview video, you want a testimonial. You want some member who's like, hey, we joined in 1932, and I know it's not that old. We joined in 2002, and we've loved it, right? You only need a little bit. But you say, you know what? Maybe in 6 months, we're going to do a testimonial video about, Jim and Patty Johnson, and because they're like a perfect family for our demographic. So you go, we want to interview Jim and Patty for this piece, but we want to ask a few more questions because in the future we're going to want to build out another video. So that's what I mean when I talk about the economy of video and thinking about long-term what you want and what you can get from that video. So think about all the different pieces you want, get them interviewed. If you've got the budget for it and the time and the production company thinks you can do it, get all the interviews. You don't have to use them right now. If you've got a really good video partner, they can hang on to it, or you can ask for the raw copies of it and hang on to it. And when you're ready to produce that next video, trust me, that company will say, sure, we'll help you with that. And if they won't, we will. But you get the idea is that shoot more than what you even need right now, because you might be able to use it further down the road. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, reach out and I'm happy to talk to you about it in greater detail. So, okay, lastly, it doesn't have to cost a fortune. Like I said, try to get the answers to these questions. You're going to need to get organized as far as who you want, the topics you want to cover, things like that. It requires some homework. Don't just hire a video company and think they're going to do all the work for you. Make sure, though, that a good video company is acting as a partner and helping you to think of the things that you haven't thought of, because you're not a video producer. You're not a video company, right? You run a club. And remember to produce those pieces as you need them. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you have some nuggets to work with here. If you don't, you can reach me at ed@storytellermn.com. You can call me at area code 952-495-6160. And I'm happy to talk you through some of these things. It's really it's important because you can really leverage the time of your production crew to get the most out of that investment. And video, as we've talked about today, is so powerful, especially in your online assets. Thank you for listening. Hopefully there are some nuggets in here that will help you get your video marketing off the ground this season yet. Again, happy to talk to you more if you need it. Next week, we'll talk to Shanna Bright of Private Clubs Online about social media and the changes made at Facebook. Now, if you haven't heard, your posts aren't getting noticed by your followers the way they used to. Shanna will help us understand why that's happening and what you can do to make sure your best social media content is getting found by the people you want to reach. And until then, enjoy your week and keep crushing your club marketing.